All right. Well, welcome to another episode of Real Estate Coffee Talk. Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, Lauren, as a proper British woman, are you drinking coffee or tea?
I am drinking coffee this morning. I have
Oh,
to have my 2 cups, but once it hits 11 a.m., I'll switch to tea.
the tea. I've been to England twice actually, and I I was very obnoxious because they liked my accent, but I liked theirs even more. And I'm like, "Oh, can you say we're going for tea again?" I was like,
Yeah.
and I got fish and chips. Ugh, I mean, I loved it. It's such a cool country. Okay, but forget it. Let's talk about you. This is Lauren Mitchell. She's with TruLoan, but she has a plethora of experience in the mortgage industry. So, Lauren, tell us a little bit about you, kind of what you do, and all that.
Yeah. Well, I moved here 8 years ago from England, followed my husband. He is in racing, so that's why we're in America. And in the UK, I was a mortgage broker. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different over there, which we can get into later, but that's how I was in this industry already. I started in 2007. So I literally got my license and then everything crashed.
Oh,
So
great
I've
timing.
seen it all. Listen, there isn't much
I was
I
just gonna
haven't.
say, if you can start then and do well, you're golden.
Yeah. So when we moved to America, obviously there's different licensing laws and it is quite different how people buy houses here. So
Yeah.
I was a realtor for a year, which I loved. I'm very grateful to my broker in charge because he taught me a lot. And that was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So it
Oh
was
god.
crazy, insane market. It was a college town.
Yeah.
Even back then when we moved here, you were having like 6 to 10 offers and people were offering 50 to 100 grand over. It was mental.
Oh my gosh, that's
So like
crazy.
COVID in Charlotte, that's how it just was in Michigan, in Ann Arbor. So
Regular day. Oh
yeah.
my
So I did that.
god.
And then my mortgage guy that I loved and used all the time, he needed a processor. And I was like, do you know what? I want to get back into that. I want to learn how it's done in America. So that's what I did. I did that for a year. And then we moved to Charlotte for NASCAR. So
Yeah.
that's how I met my current boss, Daniel Jacobs. And whilst working for him, he was like, you need to be in marketing. You're wasted. You know too much. So I became the marketing person for the company and ended up as the marketing director after 2 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So right now, do you still sell mortgages or you're all like on the marketing quote unquote corporate side?
Yeah. So now that I learned everything, last year I got my North Carolina and South Carolina license.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
back
Oh,
to selling, but I have 7 years marketing experience. So I do a lot of
ooh,
teaching on what I know to help because
yes.
that's how you grow your business.
Right, which is how I found you and kind of like what stuck out because and we're going to talk about a little bit, but you were talking about um using you had a spreadsheet in front of you with like SEO stuff and I get excited about that stuff. And I think SEO is one of those things that's a lot of people talk about Facebook and Instagram and video and stuff, but SEO and keywords, it's one of those things that I feel like in the real estate industry, well, even with me, is feels like it's just out of reach knowledge wise. So I'm so excited to hear you talk about this. Okay. So with mortgages, both I guess both in England and here, I know that they work very differently, but what was the number one way you grew your business? I know technology was also way different back then, but
So yeah. So the number one way back, I worked locally. So
yeah.
I joke, but there was a cashier that worked in my branch when I first got licensed, and we would every lunch walked around the village,
Oh
and
my
everybody
gosh.
knew us. And I would get leads just walking on my lunch hour. People would be like, "Oh, I knew you'd come past today because you do it every day," and they'd be like, "My daughter needs your help. Can you book her in?" And that, like, literally just being out there in my community was the number one way I got leads. Then when
Oh,
I
wow.
transitioned from working for a bank into doing brokering, I
Yeah.
worked for a real estate agency. So
Um,
that leads in itself. People that were coming in to make offers on houses had to be checked out by me and made sure they either had a mortgage in principle, or that's what they call it in the UK, or
Okay.
I would pre-approve them.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's so cool. And so coming from another country, I know you obviously speak the language and all that, but everything's so different. So once you got here, like you have to start all over, even just your network and all that. So once you got here, how did you go about growing and learning?
As a realtor, I took
Yeah.
every opportunity to go to every open house I could, which
Okay.
a lot of realtors don't want to do. But when I first started out, that's all I did, because all the listing agents were busy. They did not want to do that. So I offered my service, and I got 90% of my leads from buyers coming into the open houses on the weekend.
Oh my goodness, girl, you need to come on again and talk about converting open house leads because not
Yeah, it's
easy.
an art. It's an art. I think my accent
So
did help a little.
right, yeah. Well, you stand it's like you stand out. It's a conversation starter. Like this is terrible. I don't want to say like I pimp my kids out, but when when I was doing open houses a lot, I'm telling you, so my daughter at that time she was probably like, 10, 11, 12. She always wanted to come with me. And I was like, why not? And so I would bring her and I swear that it was so much easier to start. You're basically like people's guard is down because then they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, how sweet! You bring your daughter to work," and it start conversations. And one person came in one time. My daughter's wearing like a Warriors shirt for the basketball team, and they were a fan, and they started talking, and that turned into like they were buying a $1.3 million house. They were selling 800,000. I was like, girl, you just made me $2 million. I'll get you a Starbucks on the way home. It's like little
Yeah.
little things to stick out are really helpful, but that's a whole nother thing. So now you are you're still selling mortgages, but I know you have like so much knowledge when it comes to SEO just based off of that one video I saw you posted. So let's talk SEO and all that
Mhm.
that is. So on my side, like in the marketing world, and I'm still a licensed agent, but just being on the side, I hear a lot of people talking about like Google keywords and SEO and Google ads and all that stuff. So tell us like a little bit more about what it is first of all, and then how you utilize it in your business or within your industry.
Yeah. So if you imagine SEO just to be an encyclopedia, that's what it
Um,
is. So Google is an encyclopedia. If anyone doesn't know, any modern people don't know what an encyclopedia is, it used to be the place we would go and find stuff out. It would be a
that's
physical book on a shelf, and we would have to
yes,
look
pull it
up things.
out.
Yeah, but that's
Oh
what
my
SEO is. So Google and a lot of like Yahoo and all of the other search engines utilize websites to find answers to questions. So
goodness.
you as a real estate agent or as a mortgage professional need to think, what questions are my clients asking me regular? And then answering those questions helps you rank higher. It's that simple.
Oh my gosh. That is genius. Just the way you explained it, I never even thought about Google. You hear search engine, you never hear like encyclopedia. And anyone born before like 2000 would know what we had we had the World Book Encyclopedia. So they were like in with the letters. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
old. Okay. So so that's like the very general thing, right? Just thinking of the
Yeah.
questions that your audience would ask. So how I guess, are real estate agents and mortgage officers going deep with that on Google? Like, where do they start? Are there free ways to do it? Is everything paid? Like,
So
tell me.
the best way to do it, and the way to beat the bigger companies that pay millions to show up. So like for us, a great example would be someone like Quicken Loans or Rocket that pay an
Right.
infinite amount of money and staff to research keywords so that they always rank for searches. But Google has got, in the last sort of 2 years, they have got onto that. And now they prefer near me searches. and trying to match local experts rather than big corporations. So the more
Okay.
that you can position yourself as an expert in the area, the more Google will rank you higher than any of those corporate companies. And the best way to do that is to have a Google business page for a start, and then to make sure you list the areas you service.
Okay. And you should be specific about that. So like where we are, you wouldn't put, I mean, you could put, but you would want to kind of go deeper than just Charlotte.
Yes. So
Right.
what I do is, I'm going to give my secrets away, but basically I don't care. I don't gatekeep.
Change them for Ann Arbor. You can make them for Ann Arbor if you
No,
want.
it doesn't matter because, if it helps everyone, it helps. So if you Google the zip codes in Cabarrus County, Union County,
Right.
wherever it is that you service, Mecklenburg, whatever, then you'll get all of the towns and zip codes from Zillow.
Oh,
Then all you do
yeah.
is just make sure you list those on your business page, your Google business page, and your website.
Good. Okay. So,
You don't even
sorry.
have to have neighborhood description. So you don't have to have Monroe and then a whole page about Monroe. Yes, that will help you, but it's not
Right.
necessary for you to show up when people search realtor near me.
Right to me. Okay, great. But realtors should have a website, right? So this is always my biggest question with Google versus websites and all this stuff. Should, especially, I just went through the process, right, of verifying my domain for, because email marketing laws have changed with Google and
Yeah,
blah blah. So I had to go through the whole thing. And I know that if you have an email address that's, let's say, Sarah at exprealty.com, you can't verify the EXP Realty domain clearly because it
right.
belongs to them.
They own it.
So with Google and SEO and all that stuff, what do you suggest agents have as far as a website? Should they just buy a cheap domain and just have a regular schmegular website, or should they use their broker one?
So Bics are going to hate this, but selfishly, you should have your own. And there's two reasons why. The first reason is if you change company, you don't want to lose all of your reviews and everything that you've built up.
Right.
Secondly, when you change company, you want past clients to be able to get in contact with you. So if you have an EXP Realty email and you move to Compass, then they're not going to have the right email for you.
Right. And it's not
Whereas
like
if you
EXP
have,
will let you forward it.
oh no, they're going to keep those.
No,
So,
right.
so you would have Sarah at theleadsuite.com forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a minimal cost if
Yeah.
you're real serious about your business and keeping your customers for the next 20 years. Because let's face it, who wants to change CRM? Who wants to change website every time that you get a better offer from a different company, or you want to open your own team? There again, you've then had to start all over again. So
Exactly. And it's cheap. Like you can get your well, I know Squarespace domain now, but it's like for Google business, your package, it's like $6 a month per user. So cheap. You can buy a domain for $15 a year.
yeah.
And I know agents get overwhelmed by that technology, but a lot of times those websites have like just very basic websites you could put into play, where it's just like about me, areas I serve, whatever. And then you can link up your actual home search somewhere else, but
Well,
very
so
easy thing to get out of the way.
yeah, and think about your website in a different way. I had a consultation with an agent last week that we work with to help her redo her website because she had property search as the top of her website, right?
Right.
Now, that is the same for realtor.com, Zillow, everywhere else. So clients are just going to land on that page and it's probably stale because
Yeah.
your widget is out of date or your IDX is wrong. And
Right.
you've not updated your properties. I mean, everyone
Right.
knows that happens. So they're just going to
Yes.
land on your page and immediately leave.
Yeah.
So what
If
you
they
want
even
to
make
do,
it there. If they
right,
go there in
right.
the first place, half the time. Yeah.
Yeah, half the
But
time
go
they
ahead.
go to realtor.com and then text you. And they're like,
Right.
I've seen that.
Exactly. I
So
like this house.
what you want to think of is, what do they want to see when they land on your page? They want to see answers to questions. So why are they looking you up? Well, first of all, they're looking you up probably because you've been recommended. So you'll need to have some immediate customer stories. And when I say customer stories, I do not mean a review that has no backstory and makes no sense. And it's just like, Sarah was amazing. Thank you for helping us buy our first home, because that client is just going to go, okay, well, what does that mean to me? Whereas if you have a picture of the house and you're like, Sarah was an amazing client. She was relocating here from Texas. She needed a 4-bedroom home and she had a very strict budget, and we made it all work, and she closed on her home within 30 days, no problems. And then the review from Sarah, that is far more impactful.
Oh my gosh. I love that you said that, because actually it makes sense. I don't deal in the website world that much. But when people talk to me about like having a website, like, do I need one? And I'm like, well, you don't need a podunk version of Zillow. No, because I'm like, put yourself in the position of a consumer. One thing that drives me crazy, I'm gonna get hate over this, but when I see agents listing these homes and I get sent to a forced registration page,
Yeah.
unless there is something on there I can't find anywhere else, why would I give you my email? I'm going to get the address and I'm going to go plug it into Zillow or where realtor.com, and I'll find it. And they are good. I know people hate Zillow, but they're good at what they do as far as the search engine and it just being a very user-friendly site. So, but they can't be Lauren and they can't be Sarah. So putting stuff out there that what makes you you. Also, you could probably put in keywords in that story, right?
Yeah,
When
that
you're
will help with
telling it?
SEO. So Google reviews you with 4 elements now.
Okay.
The top, if you imagine it like a top banner, the top banner being trustworthiness,
Yeah.
and then underneath that, they're looking at experience. Are you experienced in your field? And you don't have to be with that company or as a realtor for 20 years for them to count you as experience. What they mean by that is, do you have on your website any proof that you know what you're doing? So proof could be those testimonial stories. Proof could be you doing a little blog about Dilworth because you live there. Proof could be a picture of you at a restaurant and you telling your customers why it's the most amazing restaurant new. Then you've got expertise. Expertise sometimes can be misconstrued as the same as experience, but expertise is more along the lines of, do you have that the actual proof? And that's where your testimonials come in. But also, do you have any backlinks from any other sites, any other realtor platforms like realtor.com, Zillow, that's linking to your website to show, oh yeah, this is a real realtor and she actually
Right.
does business. So having
Yeah.
your own site and then having your Keller Williams site linked to your Sarah at theleadsuite.com is going to improve it even more, improve your SEO even more.
Oh my goodness. I love this. Okay. So trustworthy, experience, expertise.
Yeah.
That's kind of like your guideline for that. Okay. Perfect. So so that's like one part. That's your website, right? So on Google Business Manager or Google Business Profile, whatever they're calling it these days, right? What are some things that every realtor should be doing on there to kind of start getting something going? Because I've seen very experienced realtors with one Google review, or so what are some things that you think agents can and should be doing to start really getting that working for them? That way, when someone types "best realtor near me," they have a better chance of showing up at the top.
So I would recommend 3 things. The first thing is, which is what that spreadsheet was about that you saw,
Yeah.
make sure that where you show up online, all of that information is accurate, because everybody's seen it. You'll go to realtor.com and it shows that you work for EXP. You'll go to Zillow, it shows you work for Keller Williams. And then your Google business shows that you've got your own team.
Right.
They all
Right.
need to match, because if they don't match, you're not trustworthy and Google will derank you. So the number
Okay.
one thing I would recommend any agent, if this is the minimal that you do, is to Google yourself. whatever websites show up on that first page of Google, make sure that they're all accurate and up to date.
Perfect. Okay. And
Second,
what if they're quick little part B on that? What happens if they are not? Like, what happens if you show up and you were at Keller Williams and now you're at EXP? What can you do about that then?
well, you can update Realtor.com and Zillow because you can contact them and claim the pages if you don't
Oh,
already own
gotcha.
them to update them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Realtor and Zillow especially, they take the information off the MLS. But once they
Okay.
create your profile, they won't update it. So
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either. Thanks a
yeah, so
lot.
yeah, and they don't put headshot. So I can't tell you how unprofessional it looks if you land on a Realtor.com page and it doesn't have a headshot or even a description about who you are, because as a client, you'd be like, who is
Right.
it? You could be a $10 million a year agent, but if you don't
Right.
show up online, you are losing business. It's the first way
Right.
that people are going to look for you. So,
Right.
um,
Okay.
so you can
Awesome.
contact those. If, for example, you used to work at Keller Williams and they still have your website up, you need to contact them to have it removed and taken down.
Okay.
Once they
All right.
remove it, it will take Google 6 months to ignore it. So you have to remember that. So don't get frustrated. SEO takes time.
Yeah. Okay. Good one. Good
And then
one.
the third thing with Google is Google Business Profile is pretty amazing in that you can post little updates and snippets, which also help increase your SEO. So think of it like when you post to Instagram or any other social media platform, you can just literally add, you post on Instagram, you go to Facebook, you post on there, and then it's just think of it as another social media that you add an update and that you share the same thing to Google. That will speed up the SEO recognition because
Okay.
you're showing Google immediately where everything is.
That you're involved and stuff.
Yeah, so Google likes everything to be accurate, and if it's up to date and regularly changing, they see that as accurate.
Okay.
If you go onto Google and let's say you search best dog toys for puppies,
Yeah.
you will see that in the top page, most of those posts will be over 2 years old.
Right. Right. But
Whereas if
they're
you're yeah, because the websites
Mhm.
just put a blog out and then they leave it and they move on. Whereas if you're regularly updating stuff, you're naturally going to rank higher no matter what because your information is the most recent.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So the information that agents are posting there, should it pretty much just mirror what they're putting on Facebook for like their closings or telling a story about their buyers, or should there be a different type of content for
I
that
would suggest
specific platform?
it's slightly more elevated.
Okay.
So you're not going to be posting, a picture of you with your coffee cup or
Yeah.
any of the cute little reels that you do. None of that. But customer testimonials are great to share. If you
Right.
do start a blog or start doing anything like that, make sure you post it to Google as well.
Mhm.
And then, for example, if you're featured in any press releases or anything like that, they should definitely be put on there.
Oh, okay. And in those, when you're writing those updates or whatever, should people be, because I guess what I've heard, even on Facebook, like I'm more of a meta person, right? But I've told people like a simple change you can make is instead of putting the regular post about who you closed, whatever, or let's say a new listing, even though it may say, 123 Main Street in Charlotte, in your copy, you should still kind of double up on that because the algorithms pick up those keywords.
Yeah.
So does that make a difference on Google too?
Well, you just want it to match, because if you start changing it, then Google will read it and go, that's different. Why is it different? Now, if it's different
Oh,
because you've shortened it, that's okay. But if it's completely different wording, they'll be like, is this even real? Because
oh, okay.
it's different on your website, on Google, on your Facebook. That's why it's so important to make sure that your bio matches across all of them. That your street address, even, because if your street address shows STE as your suite, but then on another website it shows SUITE, Google will
Yeah.
de-rank you because of that.
Oh my gosh, you are just dropping gems, girl. I love it because I didn't even think of it like that. Or sometimes, like, I guess I'll see people, like, I have a client, so her Google business, there's really not a strategy for it. Her strategy is Facebook, whatever. We just try to double it up where she is. But I've noticed, like, some things I'll kind of change around for Google, not so much the address and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
the updates, because, like, I know that Google in the actual update, they don't want you to put, the phone number or anything like that. They don't want you to do any of that stuff. They have it, and you just choose kind of like a call to action. So I've changed them up a little bit, but I didn't even think about checking all those things to make sure everything lines up across the board.
All
So
your
that
sites.
is
So
that
before you
is
even
change.
step into the world of paying for Google AdWords or any of that drama, there are so
Right.
many things that you can do for free and that are simple that will completely push you past most of your competition. So when we did the audit that we did in January, well, over the holidays for our event,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
out of the top 200 agents that we surveyed, 80% did not have their information accurate.
Oh my god.
So
And
the
that's such a simple
opportunity,
change.
yeah, the opportunity
Yeah.
to surpass those people is mega.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I love that you said that, because I think on the meta side, I always talk to agents who want to start running ads. They just think ads are like the band-aid. And I'm like, if you don't fix A, B, C, and D, your ads are crap. You're just flushing money down the toilet.
Yeah.
So with Google paid ads, which I literally have no idea how to do, what are some things that agents should do first, including that? But what are some other things they should do first before they even think about putting money behind it now?
Well, the first thing is make sure everything's accurate across the board.
All right.
The second thing is make sure you have your own website and that you are starting to answer questions to clients, because if you pay for an ad to rank you higher, as soon as someone clicks that ad and lands on your website, they will leave because you have no information.
Nothing.
So
Yeah.
you may as well just stand outside and throw money out the window.
All right. Right.
And it's the same with Facebook ads and the metaverse. Again,
Yeah.
we could go down a very deep hole about pixels and
Yes.
retargeting and custom audiences and all of that, but
Right.
you don't need to do any of that if you simply leverage SEO. And then in the next 6 months, you're going to rank and be better than, like I say, 80% of agents in Charlotte.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is amazing. So, what would you say? I guess I can just feel, like, I do a lot of these marketing classes and you do too. And, like, I can just envision right now people watching us and their eyes, like, just
Glazing.
glazing over, right? Yeah. So, what would you say to the agent who feels like SEO is too techy for me, or they feel like they just can't get a grasp on it? Like, what's your kind of best advice for those people?
Well, without being selfish, but I have a booklet that tells them step by step how to do everything from
Oh,
what SEO is to how Google ranks you to how to set up a Google profile to a checklist of items they need to do after that. So if
awesome.
they
So
contact
they're
me, I
going
can
to
give
link
that to them.
yes,
Yeah, it's
and
a free
and
little
we'll get
workbook
the
that we
link
give.
for you to we'll get the link too to put in the show notes and all that. But sorry, go ahead, I cut you off.
Yeah. So they can access that. That will help them. They can contact me, but essentially just do it, like get started, just do it. If you're already thinking about doing social media and you already do reels and things like that, this is way easier because you only have to blog once a month to improve SEO. You have to post nearly every day to get leads on
Right,
social media.
right. That I do. It's, like, exhausting coming up with, lately I've been trying to do 2 videos a day. I'm like, 720 ideas. I'm, like, exhausted. Okay, so that's perfect. Alright, so we're gonna link to your booklet, of course, and then I think you have some services you can help them with. So if you need just someone to get you going, obviously she knows a ton. And then, in So with people, I guess also, and I know we touched on it, but people who think that they can't compete, because even outside of the Quicken and the Rocket, you also have like market, in each market you have people who are, paying a ton of money for leads. So what are some of the ways like do you think it's possible, I guess, for your average agent to kind of have a shot when we're dealing, like, in the Charlotte market, it's like Mark Spain and all this stuff. So does the average agent have a shot at getting ahead in their market with big players, even specific to their market?
Yes. So if they are answering the questions on the website, a great example, especially like someone like Mark Spain, he does
Yeah.
billboards, he advertises, but how many times do you Google something and click on a sponsored ad, or do you scroll to the first website that's not sponsored?
Right.
Think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Half the time I
So
always do. Yeah.
yeah, everyone, you scroll, you're like, I'm not going there because they've paid for that. And then you click
Yeah.
on the one that's not paid. So all those
Right.
companies are paying for all those sponsored ads and they don't really mean anything because no one's clicking on them anyway. So if you're
Right.
answering the same question and you're coming up top underneath those, you're going to get the click-through rate far more
Okay.
than you are your competitors. So the best advice I can give is to answer the questions. And it's really simple. When you do a buyer's consult, for example, what do your clients ask you every single time?
Yeah.
Then put that
Yeah.
in a blog.
Right. And websites like Answer the Public or like Keywords Everywhere, those tools too. I love those because they give you like the answers to the test, right? Like how are people searching? And if you can use, and you may be able to correct me here, but I always say, like, if you use that exact title as the title of your video or your post or whatever, that just helps you because it's exactly what people, that's how they're searching, right?
Yeah. So when
'Cause-
when you build your page and you start writing your blog, you'll have to start learning about header tags and meta descriptions because
Right.
will that's what draws your client in. So Google will read the page and knows what the SEO keywords are and will recommend it. So when you land on Google and you type something in and it says you put like best places to stay in the mountains, and then it comes up with treetop houses in Asheville, that draws you in immediately and you're going to click on that link. So when you're
Right.
writing your title of your post, the question might be, I'll give you a mortgage example. The question might be, how much do I need to bring to closing? Right? Simple
Yeah.
question, but so many ways of explaining that.
Right.
So that would be what I would answer in my blog. But the title, I might make sure it says, how much do I need to bring to closing? So that when someone sees that, they immediately see, how much do I bring to closing? And then the meta description will be, in this article, learn every area of closing costs and what they mean to you.
Yes. And it speaks to them, right? Like it's that old marketing advice, like good marketing should make the person feel as if you're talking right to them. So if they
Yes.
see that and they're like, "Oh my god, she knew what I was thinking." It's like,
Yeah.
"No, just Google told me, but you don't have to know that." So it's really so easy if you just use it instead of wasting time thinking about what people are thinking about. If you just find what they're searching for, you get into those inner thoughts.
Well, and also you don't have to overthink it with SEO. So gone are the days that you have to plow in keywords into your article that actually negatively impacts you. So
Right.
Google is getting way more sophisticated in how it thinks and how it learns about your website. So if you start doing bad practices like putting words in white space that no one can see but Google and all of that that used to happen, they will mark your account as spam and they just won't show you up on Google search anymore.
Right.
So
You're on Instagram. Did you see that little thing going around like, "Hey, if you just put all these keywords into your video and like move it where people can't see them," like, that's the worst advice I've ever
yes.
seen.
Well, and also that was like a 4 year ago thing. Like Instagram's
Yeah.
moved way on from that now. But that's my
Right.
point is the algorithms are getting so sophisticated in trying to make sure that when you Google search for a plumber near me, that Google gives you good recommendations. So they
Right.
will put someone that's close above anyone else. They will put somebody that has regular updated content above somebody that built their website 2 years ago. It might have been great 2 years ago, but it's not relevant anymore. Times have moved on.
Right.
And the
Right.
way that you show that you're relevant is just simply blogging once a month and updating it. And it might be that after a year, you've covered every topic you can think of. Well, then all you do is go back to the start and just update those posts. It gets easier and easier because,
Right.
you know, if you're writing about Monroe, I guarantee you in a year, there'll be 10 more areas or shops or things
Restaurants.
that have changed. Yeah, that you can
Right.
just swap out to update it.
That's it. So you don't have to like reinvent the wheel. That's really good. Okay, so tell us more about Real Estate Rumble. I
I don't
want
know
to
what
know.
that is.
Oh, what the heck? You must have someone else's question. Okay. Thank God this isn't live. Imagine.
I know. We'll just
Okay.
put that out.
That's so weird. You know what? There was two Laurens. Her thing. Well, luckily I didn't give you all 10 questions on her thing must have come up on yours, but that is odd. Now I have to look through and see who Real Estate Rumble was from. Okay. So forget that.
Yep.
All right. So where will Lauren be in 10 years? What do you see yourself doing? Where do you see your business? All that.
I want to open my own brokerage eventually.
Yeah.
I come from a broker background. So although I'm a correspondent lender now, so I essentially have broker products, I
Right.
want to do that. But I love managing people as well and helping other people grow. So I want to build a team that I can help elevate through that. But for now, I just want to make sure that I build those strong relationships in this area before I
Yeah.
push out to that, because I want my realtor partners to feel like they're looked after and not left behind.
Right. And that's one thing that I love when I see different lenders doing is giving instead of being like, "Hey, you want to grab coffee?" And I get it. They're just trying to do anything. But it's like I always find value when lenders are giving agents tools that either help them grow or give them videos or content, whatever that they can share with the audience that helps the agent look better, right? Because when a lender is helping me, I want to help the lender and vice versa. It becomes like a really good partnership. So that's what I loved about your content. So it's really good. All right. So follow Lauren, Instagram and Facebook at Lauren Does Mortgages. And is your website Lauren Does Mortgages too?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Follow her there. And then we are going to link to her workbook so you can go ahead and grab that. And do you help people like one-on-one? Do you do any of that
Yeah.
stuff?
So
Need
I
packages?
do a lot of marketing consultations for realtors.
Okay, cool.
I would say that's probably why 50% of my agents work with me. The other is just relationships, but the other is that
Yeah.
I help them build and I don't ask them for anything in return. I'm like, hey, you just do these things. And then they're like, wow, it actually worked. And I'm like, see?
Yeah. I
See?
told you. I know.
Yeah,
If you
you've got
do it.
all these like leads coming from organic searches that you didn't have before because you've just
Right.
changed how you think about marketing. It's just a slight change. And I think it became very popular for everyone to be on social.
Yeah.
And that was the way to grow. And TikTok came and everyone was like, do I do TikTok? But, that's just one avenue of marketing. And let's face it, not a lot of people are very good at social. They don't like it. It's very time consuming. You have to,
Right.
it's draining because you have to do it a lot. So this is a way that you can still generate organic leads without having to do more than like 2 days a month work.
And maybe personality wise, like there's a lot of people who just simply social is hard now without being on video. So, if you just simply feel very uncomfortable on video, while I will preach, I will go down fighting how I think video is so important. But if it's going to make your life hell, don't do it, please. want you to be miserable. So actually, I love that because that could be something for people who maybe don't enjoy video and would prefer to do something a little bit behind the scenes, but just as powerful if they put the right amount of work into it.
Exactly. And then you can grow into doing more and more on that sort of stuff, and then paying for ads and doing Facebook
Right.
and Google ads and all of that kind of stuff.
Mm,
That's definitely, you can push out more and more with that, but you don't have
right.
to, is my point. Like, there is
Right.
enough scope at the moment where nobody's doing it, that if
Yeah.
even if you do a little bit, you're going to be miles ahead of the
Of
competition,
everybody else.
because everyone's so focused on video content because that's all they've seen for the last 3 years. And
Yeah.
they're going back to doing more like paper-based marketing stuff. Like, if they sell a house, they're
Yeah.
going to drop gifts to each side and all of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So this is where you don't have to do any of that. You can just sit at home on your computer in your PJs and write a blog, and
Yeah.
it's going to instantly elevate you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And then once you have that foundation and you're doing it well, once you know it's working, then once you put money behind it, that's like rocket fuel instead of
Yeah.
doing it the opposite
So
way. Cause people will be like, paid ads, Facebook ads don't work. And I'm like, no, no, no. They work very well, which is why people spend millions, but they don't work when you have zero proven strategy, offer, whatever. And you're just, I know I'm going to throw $50 at it and see if I get a lead. Like it's just a backwards way. So know that it's
yeah.
working and then scale. So, oh my gosh, I love that. Well, go follow Lauren. She has so much good stuff I've come across on her Instagram. Obviously, that one video she put out stuck out to me right away. So she has good stuff. And then get in contact with her if you want a consultation, or obviously if you're in the Charlotte, North, South Carolina area, and you need a obviously skilled lender, give her a call. And that will be all. Quick rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Netflix or podcasts?
Netflix.
Okay. Winter or summer?
Winter. Look
Should
how
I
fair I
say?
am. I can't cope in the summer.
Oh, oh, should I say UK or US?
So
Yeah.
different things. US has certain benefits, but obviously I miss
Yeah.
family from the UK. So
Right. Oh my gosh. And it's a whole different culture. Pros and cons to both, but
yeah.
my brother moved to Spain. Well, he went to Spain on he used to like DJ like internationally, whatever. So he was in Europe and he went to Spain for what was supposed to be 2 weeks and then he met a girl there and never came back. And he was just like, oh no, Europe, any day of the week. He loves it there. They visited here and they were like, yeah, we'll see you guys next time. You come visit us. So pros and cons to each
Yes.
area, but happy to have you in the US. So anyway, make sure you follow her and work with her and then go ahead and blow up your business on Google.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank,
having me, Sarah.
thank you, Laura. So good meeting you. I'll talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.